Okay, welcome to Bitrix Live Q&A. I'm Damien Edwards from Bitrix24 Partners Interface. You see our details on the screen there. We are based in the UK. We have offices in the US and UAE, and we are implementation partners for Bitrix. So we can provide pre-sale support with a demo, implementation service, including training, including customization and training, and we provide a support, ongoing telephone support service as well. With me I've got Andy Naylor, our support manager.
Hi guys, so we're going to be here for the next hour on YouTube, and you can ask us any questions with regards to Bitrix, and we can show you on the screen within Bitrix system itself and show you how it's how to do it. So it's basically an hour of free support. If you have got any questions, please put them in the box on YouTube. You can tweet us at Interface, or you can email us to live@interface.com, and you can do that in the week as well. So if you have any questions during the week, then we can answer them on Thursday. So this session is every Thursday at 10 AM Eastern Time. So I think we've got a couple of questions, haven't we, from where we kicked off the webinar on Monday.
Yep.
Just with regards to Bitrix24 sites. So for those of you that are relatively new to Bitrix, it has a website builder tool. So you can see on the screen at the moment, and you can see here that you can build a new website. And in the webinar on Monday, we showed you how to build and configure your site. So if we click on here and open up this URL, so this site here is built using the Bitrix site builder tool. And one of the questions was, how can we integrate the CRM forms? Where do we first of all build the CRM form, and how do we pull it into the actual site itself? So if you go into the CRM, let me just close down the site. If you go into the CRM, click on more, click on CRM forms, you'll be able to see in here a list of all the forms that you've built within Bitrix. So it's really easy to add a new form. Click on add new in the top right hand corner, and then we can say, it seems that we've got a cake website, we'll say free cake recipes, and we'll say submit your recipe. So this is the title of the form that people see, and then we can pull the form fields in from the lead. So if we said, let's submit your name, your last name, your email, and if we had a custom field here, we could have a custom field maybe called recipe. You could, let's call it comment for this moment, because what we can do here is we can actually rename the field. In our case, click on close and then click on here. Let's rename this one to first name. Click on close again, and you can specify all the different styling options. So we went through this a little bit on Monday. Whoever is going to be responsible for the new lead, you can have what CRM entity the lead, the form is going to create once it's been submitted. So we're going to create a new lead. You can style it up however you want. You can use some custom CSS, and you can have a thank you message. So we'll say, thanks for your recipe. And if you click on save, that will then create the form itself. So at the moment, you'll be able to see it's faded out a little bit. We need to make sure that we click on enable. In this example, the question was, how do we add this form to a Bitrix24 site? If you do have a different kind of site, so if you've got a WordPress website, or you've got a custom HTML based website, it's really easy to get this form embedded onto it. You can just simply click on embed code, copy this and paste it into your relevant website. But now the question was, how do we get it into a Bitrix24 site? So if we go into an example here and click into configure site, actually if we click into view pages, and then we want to edit the actual home page, let's put it onto the home page. So what it will do, it will load up the editor in here, and you can see it's easily editable. We went through this in the webinar on Monday, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a block, and you can see down a little bit further down we have a CRM form, and we can then specify, let's just say we'll click on this kind of form here. So it's not letting us do that at the moment. So what maybe we'll do is we'll edit an existing form that we've got on our site. So let's click on edit. And then you can see here how we can select the form that we've just created. So once you've brought that block into the site, then you'll be able to select here the CRM form. You can see that we've got the free 2-1 selected at the moment, but we've got free cake recipes. This is the one that we've just created. So if we wanted to bring that into Bitrix, the site that we've just created, click on save. You can see here that we've got first name, last name, email address, and the your recipe, which is the form label that we changed in the CRM form itself. So the good thing is with that is if we then publish this site, and you can see we've got it on our own domain, cakeshop.intraface.com. If we then scroll down, and I was then to submit this, so if I just put Andy Naylor and put in.
We did a little project this morning for tracking, conversion tracking, Google conversion tracking on forms. So it is possible if you're using AdWords and driving traffic to a form like this on your website, it's possible to track those conversions in your Google Analytics account. So does require a little bit of work to add the relevant code to the form, but that's possible. It's really important if you're using AdWords. It can be very expensive to track where you're getting a return on your spend.
Yep, so once the form has been submitted, then it will appear in your leads. So it is a very straightforward integration between your system itself, your Bitrix site, and your CRM. So that was the question really, how do we get the forms that we've created into the Bitrix24 site? It's as simple as that.
Okay. I see on the Bitrix website, Bitrix has some automated workflows, but I cannot see them on my own system. Why not? Let's have a look. It would depend where you're looking. So Bitrix has workflows in three areas of the system. So firstly, if on the home page on the activity stream, you can access your workflows here. To go to more workflows, I think as standard, Bitrix is shipped with request leave, request leave, purchase request, and expenses request. We've created some custom workflows here. So you'll have a leave request workflow which you can activate from here. You can process from here. So a user can enter their dates, requested dates. Let's go into workflows again. Go into settings. I think you need to be an admin to see this.
If one of the reasons why you might not see the initial aspect of it is if you're not on a commercial package. So anything from standard plus, if you're on the free version, you will not see this. You need to be on a standard plus, professional, or on-premise version.
Yeah, so if you go into your workflows page here, then you can see all the workflows that are available. Let's go into leave approval.
I think if you just go back a stage, I think if we just go back to this section. Now, if you do have a commercial version and you don't see these So it may be that you don't have any of these blocks on here. As Damien mentioned, Bitrix does come as standard with, I think it's 5 pre-built ones. So you can see here, if you click into Workflows directory, it doesn't actually have them installed as standard. You'll see these expense report, business trip, purchase request, general request and leave approval. You'll just see a green install button. So it might be another reason why you don't see these ones.
Yeah, so so that answers the question on in there. That's where you see your workflows. I just clicking quickly, and so on this page you see all the workflows that are being run, and a nice filter at the top, so you can filter by any of these fields here to find the particular workflow and see whether it, the status of that workflow. In this case, you have an approved or not approved status. If we go into here, we customize the fields of the workflow. So most workflows have a form, and that's the start of the process. In a leave request, you have a form, includes things like start date and end date, and in this one we're requesting a reason for the leave as well. So this is where you can configure the fields. So if it's a standard form shipped with Bitrix, you can still edit it. Maybe that you don't need a reason, you want to remove that, you can remove that field. And then finally, if you go to configure workflow and click into the workflow itself, this is the process that's triggered. So on completing the form, it starts up here. This is the approval loop. So this is where your line manager will receive the approval. You can edit inside here things like the content of those approvals, so the text that they're seeing in those approvals. And then further down here, posts it to the absence chart, depending on the type of leave. There's a condition depending on the type of leave that they've requested. So I think in the standard form you can request annual leave, or you can say sick leave or business trip, things like that. So that's the first area you find workflows. Second one will be in the drive. So if we go into let's go into a work group, show it inside a work group. So let's go into this work group here. So there are workflows available within all drives and all work groups, but they do need to be enabled. So I'm clicking into the drive, click into here, the settings button. When the page loads, click into the setting button. So you can see configure business process here. I think same thing applies that Andy mentioned, that it's not always available, so you probably have to go into business processes, I think, and then when you go into here there'll be a install business processes button. And I can see that all these processes are installed and active. The difference between configure business processes, okay, I can see that they are. So this is the link you'll see, configure business processes. You won't see this one in the beginning. You need to go into configure, you need to click on active, select the tick box to activate them. So I could deactivate them if you don't want to be running business processes as well. So then I can access my business processes in here. As an admin, I can access them here and change the way they work. As a user, I run my business processes on a document from each individual document here. So if I click on the little lines, go down to business process, I can trigger any of those processes from here. So for example, two-stage approval gives me a form and asks me who needs to approve it at the first and second stage. So that's triggering a business process manually, where the user does that as and when required. It would be possible to trigger that process automatically when a new document is added to the folder. Say we add another file using the upload button following this link, the business process can be triggered when the file is changed, so when it's modified and resaved. To make sure to check those settings, check how the process is triggered, go into your business processes. So let's look for the two-stage approval here. Open up the business process. You'll see the workflow here. Go into template parameters and that's low. Go into template parameters. and we've got 2 tick boxes here called auto runs. So they're currently unticked, which means that I can only run this process if this process will only run if the user runs it manually on an individual document. But we can tick when added, we can tick when changed. So as I said, when a new document is added to this folder, that process will always run. That can be quite useful if you want a document to be approved before it becomes available to everyone inside a drive, particular drive. CRM, final place. So there, within the activity stream, there are some standard business processes that are shipped with Bitrix within the documents. There are standard processes within the CRM. There are no standard processes shipped with Bitrix. But if we go into the settings, if we go into automation, now we can run automation on leads and deals we're using the drag and drop builder, which is based on stages of leads and deals, or we can run.
I think it's important to note again, you will not see these if you're on the free version of Bitrix. So if you go into CRM settings, the automation link in the left-hand side won't be available. You do need a commercial package again from standard through to the on-premise.
Yeah. So if I go into business processes, I get to see the modules within the CRM that we can run business process on: leads, contacts, companies, and deals. Let's go into contacts, click on templates, and I think we've probably got a few processes in here. Go back to deal template. So we've got a process in here, CRM sales process. Let's look at what that does just quickly. So again, there's no standard processes shipped from the sales side. You build your own processes. Typical one might look something like this. So this runs on a deal. If you go into template parameters, it's not enabled. It should be when added and when changed, because we want this to run every time a deal is added or every time anything changes on a deal. You can untick those though, because we don't need this process running in the background on this demo site. But generally we'd have those ticked, and then we have a condition here. So the process runs, but it only runs if one of these conditions is met. So we're looking for the status or the stage, of a deal to be at quote prospect or one. Let's just click into deals, and
I don't know if you would use this really in terms of the stages. Would you now? I think you would more or less focus on. You would more or less focus on the automation tools. For this.
So we've got quotation, promised, and one stages. So going back in here, when we're at quote stage, it's going to book a call in and then wait and book send a notification out saying call being booked, and then it's going to wait 7 days and then trigger a follow-up call. At prospect stage, sends out a text message and then does something around asking for approval for credit. And then at one stage we do a few things like sending out notifications here to sales managers, sending out a PayPal link here to get payment, creating an invoice in Bitrix down here. So, but as Andy says, you can do this in the automation instead if you prefer. There might be some extra stuff you can do in there.
I think if you need approvals, you're definitely going to need to do it in the business process editor, because I don't believe that the approval action is in the automation tools. And there are other elements in here that are more powerful using the workflow editor tool than the automation tool.
Might be actually when you want an approval before this process sitting behind this condition is run. So yeah, but if we go into the deal and we click in the automation tab, then you could do a very, very similar process using this builder tool. So at quotation stage, we were booking a follow-up call in, so I can do that. I think schedule a call, so we can add that action item and set the details of the call. Sending out notifications, of course we can do we can do all that. We send out emails, send out system notifications, doing the PayPal bit, generating the PayPal payment. I'm not sure you can do that in here, so that might be a reason why you'd want to. What you can do in the automations is use triggers, which you can't really do in the business process. You can, it would be a more long-winded method, I guess. So triggers are actions that will change a stage of a deal. So instead of being, just changing the stage manually, we can use a trigger. In this case, an incoming email. So should an email come from an email address that's linked to this deal, it would change the stage to this one here. This one's got a form submission, so we just looked at forms. So if you're driving someone to a form as part of your sales process to complete some information, collect some information, once that form's been submitted, that can change the stage of this deal. Probably have it at this sort of promise stage, or probably have it at a qualification stage or something like that. So those are the business processes inside Bitrix. So if you're not seeing them, hopefully that's why. I want to customize my quote PDF. How do I do this? Andy's good at this.
Yeah, so Bitrix have introduced a document generator tool, and it's quite a powerful tool now inside Bitrix. If you go into the CRM, and let's just go into let's just say a deal, for example. If we just let that load back up. If we go into deals, and then in the top right hand corner, you will see this document section here. So you can see document, click on the drop down, and if we look at the document itself, it will pop up with a slide. Let's actually just click on add template here. It should come up with all our templates. So you can see that Bitrix will come with a standard set of templates. So we've got quote, invoice, and we've got a packing sheet and order confirmation. And when you install the document editor tool, it will actually ask you which templates you would like to use. And the most powerful aspect of this is that it's the template itself is actually generated on your local machine using a Word document. So if we were to download this, then it would download as a Word document, and you would be able to edit any styling, any fields, any tables just in Word itself. Now, how these templates pull in data from your system, if we click into the little gear icon at the top here and click in fields, then you will be able to see a list of all the fields that you could include on your document template. So let's say, for example, we're going to create a new invoice template. So at the top, we'll click on source, and we'll click on invoice, click on search, and what that will do is it will pull in a list of all the available fields that you can include on your invoice template. And once that loads, I think our internet's a little bit slow today. If you click back into here. So there we go. So there's a list of all the available fields that you can see that you can put into your invoice template. So amount, and you can see this symbolic code. And what you need to do is simply click on copy, and then you would paste it into your Word document. And what I would generally recommend doing if you're going to be generating a new branded invoice template or a quote template is download what's available on Bitrix as standard, so you have a generic layout. Then I would adapt it slightly and pull in the fields. Maybe you've got extra custom fields that you need to include in the template. I would do it that way, because it creates, in the standard invoice, it will create your product table, so you can see all the different rows of what people are ordering product-wise, and it means you don't have to create it from a blank canvas completely. So it's, like I say, it's very straightforward. You click on download, click on the fields, get the fields that you want. You can load some generic ones from the library, and like I say, it will give you a UK quote and an invoice quote in our case. But it doesn't just restrict you to creating documents for quotes and invoices. The reason why Bitrix have introduced this document generator is primarily because you're going to need to create other documents from Bitrix. So you can see here we've got a packing sheet, we've got order confirmation, you may have a purchase order template that you want to generate. We've had people generate contracts, proposal documents, because it's dynamically inserting the fields that you select into the document from where you're generating it from. And if I wanted to generate, for example, an invoice from here, I would just click on Invoice UK, and you can see here it will give you a preview, and then you can download it as a PDF here. And you can also provide it on a public link. You can see our template's very basic, but you can brand this up to however you want. So, like I say, this is one of the more powerful aspects of generating documents inside Bitrix.
Yeah, that's all pretty new stuff, isn't it? So it's really good.
So just to touch upon who we are, so we're actually Intraface, so we're gold partners of Bitrix. So you can see our contact details here. We did show you these at the start, we'll just show you them in the middle as well. We've got an office in the US, we're in the UK here, and we're also in the UAE. And we can accommodate any queries, questions that you may have for Bitrix. And like I say, we're here for another 30 minutes on YouTube. So do please, if you've got any questions at all, put them in the box next to the video on YouTube, and we can answer any. It's basically, you've got free support for the next 30 minutes, so we're here to help.
Yep, so question, if my emails are synced into Bitrix, can I send emails via Bitrix from my email address? And then it says, if I send emails from another device when I'm not logged into Bitrix, will it still sync with the CRM? Yes, it will. So I'll show you how to send from your email address. So you need to, where are we on? Let's go to a different site. So you need to go to, oh, it's changed, it's moved, hasn't it?
Yes, I think if we go to our,
used to be in your profile, it's now in, okay, webmail. So yeah, so if you go into here, create your email account within here, will not click through, but fairly straightforward. You need to put username and password in, and you can create you can sync your email into Bitrix. So what we're assuming here is you'll continue to use Gmail for your general email traffic, sending and receiving emails, but create the account or duplicate the account really inside Bitrix using one of these connectors.
Yeah, you don't have to do that now, do you? Though I think if you wanted to, I suppose, yeah, you still keep your Gmail and you can access your emails using Gmail. But now Bitrix have introduced inside, so if we were to connect our Gmail, it would show our full inbox inside this particular page itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So it has, yeah, indeed, it has changed recently. So once you've done that, then let's go into the CRM and look into our contacts. Then open up one of our contacts. So if we've got an email address inside there, we can, sorry, that's we've got an email address on the contact, we can email them from the system. So yeah, you now have an full email client built into Bitrix, so you can email from Bitrix or you can continue to email from, well, I think what we tend to do in-house is a mix of both. So if I'm sending out a standard email that's from a template, I use Bitrix. So you can see that in this case, I can select from email addresses. So you are sending from your email address. It's not a Bitrix email address or anything, although it says that there. It is going to be your email address that you set up, and you can set up. You can bring in a template. Maybe have a look at how to set up templates in a second. So you can send emails from a template very quickly from the system. If I send that, then it's going to sync into it's going to sync into Bitrix. See that was sent today, and I can open that up. But yeah, if you want to send that continue to send that from your Gmail or Outlook, then those emails will sync into Bitrix. So the sent items will automatically copy in Bitrix, and any receipts and incoming emails will copy into the relevant contact, depending on the email address that you have in those contacts. One thing to consider on this is that if you've got some permissions on the CRM that allow other people within your team or the whole business to be able to see those contacts, so you're not just restricting access to that contact to ones that you're responsible for. Remember, we're not showing responsible field on here. Let's have a look. Responsible person. So a company, a contact, a dealer, lead, they all have a responsible person. So this is the user that's responsible for this contact. If I have permissions that allow the people in my team to see these contacts that are mine, they'll also see your emails. So that's obviously useful for everyone to be able to see all that activity. It's not locked away in somebody else's email account. It's all visible to everybody, but obviously there might be reasons why you don't want to share all that with everybody. Let's just look at how to do emails, email templates. So very simple. We can create a new one or edit the email templates using this form. So we can bring in fields from, in this case it's a contact, we can bring in fields from the contact as we've done here. To do this, you would just go down here, select using the buttons here. So first common one would be first name maybe, but if you want to bring in any other information, whether they're standard fields or whether you've created custom fields, you populate the email with those fields using this tool. I can do that in the body of the email, I can do that in the subject of the email. In this, I can choose to bind this email, so it's only available when I'm sending an email from a contact. Yeah, does that?
It would only show up in a lead if you were to select lead.
Yeah. You can attach documents. You can style it and click the button here. You can style it a little bit as well. So you create your email templates, fairly straightforward. I think though if you go in, does it say available to everyone? No, just up here, yeah, available to everyone. So you can make templates for yourself, or you can make ones for across the business. Quite good, I think, to get, for businesses, for everyone in the team to be sending out the same sort of email, same sort of style, and formalise that sort of communication.
We've got a couple of questions on YouTube. So you mentioned how to use the remaining leave. Please advise. So I know Damien showed you the leave approval workflow to start off with. So if we go to, if we go to our system here and click onto the workflows. Damien, I won't go through this. Damien clicked on leave approval, and you can submit a request, it gets approved, and it gets added to the absence chart. As standard, there is no leave allowance on these processes that come as standard within Bitrix. We have a module, if you go to intraface.com/extensions, I do believe, or
shop, I think, and then I'll follow the shop link at the top of intraface.com. You can order our extension.
And what that does is it allows you a couple of extra features, really. It gives you the ability to book half days, so I can book the morning off on a particular day, and give a reason for leave. And then once it gets submitted, it's the same process. Somebody approves it, so your manager or somebody in the HR team. And then if we go to our profile, we have the remaining entitlement. So what we can do there is specify each employee's leave allowance. So let's say each employee gets 20 days, and if once they get their leave approved, it will knock it off entitlement. And we've also got some functionality in there. If you can specify when your working days are. So, for example, Monday to Friday is generic, is the standard. So if you were to book 2 weeks, theoretically what Bitrix would calculate it as is 12 days because you're going over a Saturday and Sunday, but it will only take 10 days leave off your entitlement because you're not classing those as work days. So we do have some good functionality. Like I say, probably best to go to interface.com, click on the shop and just have a look at that particular extension on there.
Okay, can we assign task responsible person to a group instead of person? Can't as standard, no. Let's just go into tasks and open up a task. Oops. Open up this task so we can see responsible person. You can add in tasks. There's 4 different levels, I think. So you've got the creator, the responsible, participant, observers, and they can have different permissions on who can see and add and delete content within the task. With a responsible person, you can change it to anybody. You can't change it to a group. So the only way really is to create a user for that group and call it by the name of the group or something.
Because you can't assign, you can create a task and assign it to multiple responsible people, but it will create a duplicate of the task, so it'll create one task for each of those responsible people. What I would probably recommend to do is add the group of people who you want involved. I know you can't assign it to a particular department, but you could add a group of people as participants so that they will see and be involved in that particular task.
Yeah, so a couple of things. You can't create a custom field to associate with a group either. If you have a self-hosted though, you could do that. So if you have self-hosted, we could create a custom field and then tag that to the department. The other thing to consider is using a task template. So as Andy says, you could have a number of participants. If you use the task template, then you could set the participants inside the template. So you don't have to add all those people if it's a very big department. You don't have to add all those people every single time.
I think you could actually go to departments, couldn't you? Find the department, but you would still have to select everybody from that department.
Right,
it would be easier.
Yeah, you could go into the HR department and then select those people from that department. So yeah, I mean, unless there's a very good reason why you need to assign responsible, maybe you want to pass it from one department to another. Maybe that would be the reason. But otherwise, add all the people in the department as participants or observers. Observers have less rights over what they can do. I don't think they can add or delete anything.
Yeah, they also with the notifications on tasks, participants will get notified of any changes. So they will get notified if somebody adds a comment to the particular task, or if the task gets edited or updated, your participants will. So I would recommend doing it that way. You mentioned there in your message, because sometimes the department staff are not in the office, they will still see it. If we go into the filter at the top, you can see as a participant you would go into the assisting field, and these would be the tasks. If we go into the list view, these would be the tasks that you're a participant of. So that's the filter that your staff would be able to look at and see.
Yep.
There was one thing when you mentioned about workflows earlier. Bitrix now has the automation rules in tasks as well. I think that's the only part you missed off. Just with regards to, you can see when Demi went through the lead automation, we do actually have automation in your task planner now, and also in your project Kanban. So your project stages, you also have your own automation rules, and you can see these will be growing over time. It's a relatively new feature, but you can see you can send notifications, emails, pass the responsibility of a task as it goes through each particular stage. So it's another powerful feature of Bitrix, especially in the project management side of things, that you can start automating your processes as tasks go through a series of different stages.
Yeah, okay. If I have a self-hosted version of Bitrix, do I need to take out support? If you buy a self-hosted version, you get ticketing support included, but whereas that might be okay for cloud version, self-hosted has a control panel area, which we'll have a look in. Now, the ticketing support will cover aspects of this, but you're waiting 24 hours to get answers to questions. Potentially, answers to the question might be a question in itself that you need to respond to. So it will take a very long time to fix problems that occur through some errors in settings in the control panel. So there's quite a long list of different areas that you can go into to configure inside here and inside here. So it's a much more complicated product, much more powerful if you want to do customizations and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think if you're taking that self-hosted, you should take out some support with a partner. You should be dealing with a partner to get it set up and to support you with it. So we provide support, telephone support. So that's what you need really. If you want to know how to change something in the control panel or anything on the self-hosted version, then get support from a partner. Cost you extra. I think you should be really buying a product like self-hosted version of Bitrix. If you're not taking out some support, some good telephone support with it, you'll have problems.
I think one of the questions that I get asked quite regularly, just with regards to one of the third-party apps that is available, and it is Ring Central. So if we just go into the telephony side of things and we go into the connection, then we can connect your PBX. So we click on connect your PBX, and you can see here using the REST API for free, and we have a third-party app, Ring Central Telephony. It's one of the more popular apps, and we've connected a few now. It's become a lot more stable connecting this, and as long as you've got an account with Ring Central, we can connect it up, and you can use the inbound and outbound telephony through Ring Central. So it's just one of the, you get asked if it does connect with this.
Okay, will a number known to my CRM show up against a relevant contact if I receive a call? So let's demonstrate this. Let's call the system.
Hello, thank you for your call. If you know the extension of the party you wish to call, please dial it now. This call may be recorded.
So I don't know whether this number is recorded. It probably is. Okay, so it is. So we can see that we can see who the contact is within the system.
And the good thing is with this as well, in the activities, if you've got assigned a task against a particular contact in the CRM, then you'll be able to see that task in this list that's coming up. So let's just say, for example, you deal with a lot of support queries and you've got tasks that are outstanding for this particular, let's just mute this one. Yeah, you can see that you've got a lot of tasks. You can see them in the activities here when you call up.
Let's hang up. Let's go into that contact. If I refresh the page there, a lot of tasks there. We can see that the call was recorded and is available to play back inside here. Might want to pin that at the top. There we go. So yes, if the number, if your client calls you and you've got the correct number and they call from that number, then it will tell you who is calling you before you answer the call, which allows you to quickly go open that contact record. It will record the call, and one other thing, you can assign you can route calls through to the responsible person if you want to do that. If you don't want to go through a switchboard, you want to go directly to this user, then automatically, if I'm responsible, it'll go to me.
Yeah, and I think the telephony module is available on both the cloud and the on-premise version of Bitrix. Like I say, it's really one of the more powerful aspects. And another question we get with the telephony is, how can you set up a dialer so you can set up an auto dial system? So you could theoretically go into your, I think it's if we went into our leads, and you can see here I can create a filtered list of all my leads. If they've got a telephone number, obviously this is going to work. So we could say, I don't know, we collected a lot of leads from a recent exhibition or conference that we went to. I create a filter in here based on those fields. I've selected them all, and you can see here we have a start dialing. If I click on start dialing here now, I click on call, write the notes in there, click on next, and so on and so forth. So you can start, it's a really good, especially in the leads, because you can work your way through the leads that you're responsible for. So
yeah, so you can start now, you can schedule for time in the future. Okay, can I manage multiple businesses off Bitrix? So there's no reason why not. So Bitrix does come with an enterprise edition, which allows you to create unlimited numbers of instances. That may be the right solution for you if you want to have multiple businesses. There isn't complete separation between those instances, so the users from one instance can chat fine and chat with users from another instance. So let's say they were to go into here and post a message, then you could tag somebody in from another instance or company. So there is that. I think, really, if you're depending on how much separation you need, really, might be that actually you just create a work group for each instance, for each business, sorry, and then inside, this would be your business name. Only make that work group available to people who work for that business, so other businesses wouldn't be able to see it. And then you've got all this functionality. Then you can create tasks and share those. You have the activity stream, which allows you to chat with one another, have that social intranet, a calendar for each business, a document drive for each business, you can then have group chats, do all the functionality you have within Skype, instant messaging, video calls, voice calls, sharing files, sharing screens, with Skype features, and we have a feature called lists. So this allows you to create tables of data, essentially. So create a table of data for expenses, if you like, things like flights and foods and hotels, and I can then use the filter at the top to find information that's relevant. So I think for each business we've got quite a lot of functionality within the work groups, so probably do that, or or create separate accounts. If you're using just one instance of Bitrix for multiple businesses, then you can manage all your users more simply because you've got one account. But if it depends on your requirements, specific requirements. You have to have a look at how it all works in more detail.
One of the questions we get at the moment, just with a recent change inside Bitrix, is just with regards to setting your layout of all your different elements. So again, I've been asked this a few times this week, and if we go into a lead as a administrator, what you can do is, let's just see which view we're in a minute. So we need to switch to common form view. So as an administrator, I can change the title here, I can hide fields, So if we wanted to hide the status and we wanted to hide this field, if we click on save, we can start building up the layout and structure of the information that's shown to your sales team. Now, as an administrator, you then set this common view, which I've just done now, saved it, and then that would mean that once a sales rep comes into your CRM and they're viewing this layout as the common view, they won't be able to move or hide or change anything in terms of the layout. So it's a good way of fixing the structure and the layout and the information shown to your sales team. If your sales team then want to create their own layout, all they would need to do is click into switch to my form view, and then they would have the capabilities of setting up their own layout. So each user has the personal view, which is the view that they want, the fields that they want to show, and the common view, which the administrators have set. Now, on the self-hosted, we've just done it recently for a client where we've disabled the sales rep to have their own my view, and we've just had the common view fixed for everybody. So only admins can change it, and as a normal user comes in, they can't switch to my view. So it's just a common view. That is only available on the self-hosted, and that's what the self-hosted allows you to do sometimes. It allows you to customize some of the functionality of Bitrix tailored more towards your business needs. It's a little bit restricted on the cloud version.
Okay, what's the difference between blog, forum and Bitrix? Do you know that?
So yeah, the terminology is quite confusing. If we were to go into the actual on-premise version here, click into services. So what Bitrix classifies as forums, you can see here, we have general forums. In work groups, we have a forum functionality where you can, the old style forum, where you can post an article as a sticky, for example, and see a list of fixed notes against that. So it's more of an old school forum, and the blogs are more to do with social networks. So the work groups inside Bitrix is the comments and the posts inside there. It can be a little bit confusing. The terminology is sort of gone away now, and the work groups and project groups is more or less taken over that.
Okay. Let us know if you've got any more questions. There's our contact details. If you want to contact us afterwards, then no email address is on there, but over here, sales@intraface.com, intreface.com. So yeah, email us with any questions, anything you need us to help with, but I don't think we've got any more questions coming through right now.
No, so we're here every Thursday. I know it's Thanksgiving today, so there's a few less people on the live session. But yeah, we're here every Thursday at 10 AM Eastern time for exactly 1 hour. And again, it's as I've mentioned a couple of times, it's an hour of free support for you. We can help you along with any questions you may have. If you're thinking about purchasing Bitrix, again, we can show you a few of the differences between the packages and anything really. So if you've got any questions for next week, please send them to live@intraface.com, and we'll start next week's session with those questions. But as Damien said, I don't think any further questions are coming through on here. So I think we may finish it for now.
Yeah, okay, thanks. See you next week. See you next time.